Prior to there being services in communities, the only option for a person with a intellectual or developmental disability was the state institution as far as services. When those institutions were founded, they were meant to be a place where people could be safe and secure and provide training. But unfortunately, when people are isolated, we don't know them, and we have all kinds of myths and beliefs, and they become less of a priority. And those state institutions moved more towards warehousing for quite a period of our history. And then parents who came post World War II in the 50s, and we were founded in 1953, but we saw a movement in communities to provide services, and that's what we saw in Medina County, was this movement to create services in their community and not have their children have to go somewhere else. We have always been an agency that looks at what the needs are in the community, and so when the agency first opened, its focus was on education, because at that time, children didn't have a place to go to school if they had a developmental disability. The original parents came together first to form an educational program in the community, because they wanted their children to stay in the community, not go to a state institution. They gradually grew that program. They provided the transportation themselves. They went to the city. The superintendent said, "We have a classroom that we're just using for storage. You can have that." So they hired a teacher. They cleaned up the room. They painted it. They bought furniture, and they started a class. It's kind of hard to even imagine a student with a learning disability not having the opportunity to be in the classroom. We had the educational program first, then we had camp, because the children needed something to do in the summer. And then those children were growing up, and parents were saying, what am I going to do if my child outlives me? Who's going to care for them? And so that was then the emergence of the residential program. The agency continued to look at the needs and the gaps, and where those needs were changing and where they weren't needs anymore. In 1960, we advocated for the county to take on the education and the adult community day programs. And then levy passed, and in 1962, we did a transition program with the county. Then we fast forward into the 2000s, and the philosophy was that you can't be the fiscal entity, the oversight entity, and the provider of services. So the county boards began to get out of the day service programs, and different agencies such as us began to again provide those services. And then it provided an opportunity for choices and diversity in day services. So we now provide those day services. So we kind of went full circle. I'm very proud of the fact that this agency has stayed true to their mission, but we've moved with the times. We've learned and grown and evolved. We don't do everything the same exact way. We have programs that we don't do anymore because we've made this progress in the community. We've been successful in community inclusion so that children can go to Boy Scout camp and 4-H camp and Girl Scout camp, and the community rec centers have programs that are inclusive. So that's a real accomplishment that we celebrate. And we have moved to other areas, really focus on community inclusion and that opportunity to give back, to be volunteers, to be employed, to be part of the neighborhood, part of the community, to make friends and grow. So the original families that came together wanted services for their children. They wanted their children to grow up, be a part of their community, be with their families, and that has remained our goal for individuals to lead their best lives, to be connected with their community, to be accepted and included, and to be engaged in their community. We've always been an advocacy agency. We've always looked at needs. We've always looked at what services We've always linked with our community, our representatives, our fellow agencies to meet the needs of individuals.